Hello, good people. Welcome to Raw Vegan Rising. My name is Shane Sterling. I have a story that I've been wanting to tell for quite some time. I've never told this story on YouTube before, and it's kind of vulnerable for me to share this. This is a story of how I've used intuitive magic to alter reality, to basically win at life. And I'm going to share this story with you. I call this story my Matchbox Car Story. And I've only ever told this a couple times in my life to people who are very close to me. So bear with me because I haven't rehearsed this. This is just me recounting an experience of mine using intuitive magic to alter the fabric of reality. So I was at a time in my life where I was meditating. I was single, I wasn't married, I didn't have kids. I was able to kind of go with the flow, okay? And I was experimenting with what it would be like to, just be connected and intuitive and going with the flow, like I said. And so I was doing experiments. I was experimenting with meditating at the time and using my intuition. So I was helping my sister move, and I was at her house packing up stuff in the car, and in the mud, I found this Matchbox car, and it had the number 10 on it. And I had this intuition and this intuitive hit. Wouldn't it be cool to use the power of my intuition to find a series of Matchbox cars on the ground, sequencing from number 1 all the way through number 10? And I had the number 10 car already. So my challenge to myself was, what if I found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 sitting on the ground? So that was an idea I had, okay? And then the next day, I think I was sitting at a coffee shop. By the way, I was probably about 30 years old. I think this was in the year 2001, okay? So I was sitting at a coffee shop and I thought, okay, let me work on this Matchbox car idea. So I was sitting there, just middle of the afternoon, and I thought to myself, okay, let me tune in. I went inside, I did a little meditation, I connected to my source, and I asked, where can I find a Matchbox car to fit in my sequence? Where can I find a Matchbox car? And I asked, where can I find a Matchbox car? At that moment, I had an intuitive hit that I should go to the Catholic Cavalry Cemetery, which was about a 30-minute drive away. Now, a 30-minute drive's pretty far. I didn't really want to go, but I was like, okay, I'm practicing intuition. I got the hit, I got to listen. So I got in the car and I drove to the Catholic Cavalry Cemetery, 30 minutes away. Okay, so I pull in to the cemetery and I'm like, okay, well now what? Where do I go? I asked my intuition, my guidance, okay, where do I need to drive? So I said, I'm gonna just drive through this cemetery until I feel my intuition tell me to stop. Okay, so I did. I was driving through the cemetery. All of a sudden, I got the hit to stop the car. Okay, I stopped the car. I got out of the driver's side door. I walked over to the nearest grave stone that was right there, and sitting on the gravestone, the headstone, were 2 Matchbox cars. It makes me tingly even saying it out loud. When I saw those Matchbox cars sitting there, I burst into tears. I think I wept for probably 10 minutes straight. I wept in astonishment. I wept in amazement of the fact that that had actually just happened. Amazed at the potential of what that meant. Amazed that I had actually called that in, that I had tuned in to that intuition. Now on the headstone, there was an engraving, and it said, and I'll never forget it. I usually cry when I say it. On the whisper, on the wind, on the smile of a new friend, think of me and I'll be there. That was a message to me from the divine source, from myself, from my past, present, and future self, from this intuitive source I had tapped into, telling me that all I have to do to tap into that level of truth and magic and intuition is to think of me and I'll be there. It's as easy to call on as simply going inside and asking, I need something. Now those Matchbox cars didn't have a number on them. But I was so overwhelmed by what I had experienced that I actually got a little freaked out, and I decided I was not going to pursue it any further. And I wasn't going to try to collect those Matchbox cars 1 through 10 because I was so astounded by the fact that I went straight to those Matchbox cars. And I figured that was enough. That was enough to tell me of what I was seeking. When I had that intuitive hit to make the collection of Matchbox cars, what I was seeking in that moment, I had just found. And it was mind-blowing to me. It changed my life, and it led me to believe that we have access to all knowledge, past, present, and future. All knowledge is within us, accessible to us. That means we can be anything we want to be. We can be a healer. We can be an intuitive. We can be a master. We can be our own doctor. Any authority that we put outside of ourselves is an illusion, ultimately. We are our own authority. All we have to do is think of it, and it will be there for us on a deep level of mastery of our intuition that can actually alter reality around us. Putting those Matchbox cars there on that headstone. Who knows, were those Matchbox cars there for years? And when I asked, I tuned into the fabric of reality, the people that had put that there? Or was it a spirit, maybe the spirit of the person who was buried at that grave, offering me that information because they knew that that offering had been made to them. Somebody had lovingly placed those Matchbox cars there on that grave as an offering to their loved one. And maybe that energy was accessible to me in that moment. I tuned into that energy because that energy is available to all of us. That makes us very, very powerful. See, when we give of ourselves selflessly, we get it back tenfold. The power of tuning into that subtle energy, the universal force that drives all life, gives us that gift. Giving intuitively, giving graciously, and without the desire for anything in return, gives us abundance in return. We actually can hack into the biofield of life by giving, okay? By selflessly giving. That's what my intuition has led me to. The level of mastery and access that my, intuitive magic has given me is to understand that when I give selflessly, truly of myself, with no expectation of anything in return, I get tenfold back. That's why I'm making this video right now. I had an incredible call with somebody today who hired me for a deep dive session. I do deep dive sessions. They're 1 hour consultation calls. Somebody had hired me for one, and I showed up, I served on that call selflessly to provide as much value for that person. I tuned into my intuitive magic to offer them the highest level of insight possible to serve them on their life, to help them go vegan, to help them change their family lineage. It was a gentleman who was raised on a beef farm, a cattle farm, and he wants to go vegan. And he needs to feel the empowerment to change his family lineage because he's like 5 generations in of beef farmers. And he wants to change his beef farm to a fruit farm. And brother, if you're watching, this is for you, man. Our call today inspired this YouTube video. So by giving to him selflessly in that moment, I felt inspired by the process of giving. I wanted to share this message right now with you on YouTube because I know how powerful it is to make a message. You know what I did? I made a message to myself. It said, share myself more. That was the hit. That was the intuitive message I got after my call with this gentleman today. Share of myself more. And I instantly thought, boy, I have to share more of my personal stories. And even though I've never told this story on YouTube or anywhere else publicly for that matter, I know I need to share myself more. My message is right up there on my wall. I wrote it in a big piece of paper and taped it to my wall to remind myself to give more, to share more more deeply of who I am, share more of my stories, share more of who I am naturally. My Matchbox Car Story is so personal that I usually cry when I tell. I'm actually astounded. I'm on such a mission with this video that I didn't cry, but I usually tear up when I tell that story because of how impactful it's been. So remember, folks, on the whisper of the wind, on the smile of a new friend, think of me and I'll be there. Much love to all of you. I hope this message was helpful. Have a great day. Blessings, peace, love, and harmony to all of you. I'll see you in the next one.